Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to wish the Nintendo Switch 1 a happy 8th belated birthday. Yeah, the Switch 1 release date was on March 3rd, 2017. It's been almost a decade since then, and we have the Switch 2 around the corner, so I thought it would be a good idea to use this opportunity to reminisce a bit as to where was I on the Switch 1 release date or whatever. Yeah, so I pre-ordered mine right after the overall blowout video in January. I managed to luckily get my hands on the Switch. I remember how hard it was during like the first year and a half for other people to get it. And along with that, I had the special edition Breath of the Wild that I pre-ordered and I beat eventually. It came with the Sheikah case, soundtrack, and a map and a coin, which I have to find. Sorry about my mic. But yeah, 8 years, man. That was back when I was like 22. I was working as a security guard, and at that point I was already transferred to my 4-year university. Yeah. Fuck, man. There has been significant milestones these past 8 years, but enough about me, more about the Switch. So yeah, so I want to take this like I mentioned before, I want to take this opportunity to go down memory lane. I wanted to go over the original Switch 1 reveal trailer and also the Switch 1 presentation, kind of like a reaction Ramble type video. Kind of just gushing a bit more on this original Switch. It's still selling, and it's right now I believe the 3rd most sold console, handheld or home console ever, just shy of the DS and the PS2. Obviously once the Switch, I believe at this point the Switch is at 150 million, or it's approaching that. And the I remember it beat the original PS2's numbers, but the CEO of PS4 found a few more receipts in his couch and kind of claimed that actually the PS2 sold this many, or I think it was at this point he jumped from 145 to 160 million. I could be wrong, I'm not too sure, but there was 2 significant jumps that he made that magically appeared as the Switch was creeping up on the PS2. But whatever, the Switch, I'm sure. And the thing with the Switch, once the Switch 2 comes out, Nintendo's not gonna just drop the Switch 1, because that is a huge ass install base to leave on the wayside. The Switch 1 will still be receiving support, whether it's just remakes, remasters, and ports. And not only that, the Switch, not analogy, but the Switch 2 is going to be almost fully backwards compatible. I'm guessing the only thing that's not going to be compatible are the AR games like Labo, that one WarioWare game. But since that's the case, the Switch 2 is basically a beefier Switch 1, so I believe that would make it easier to continue to support the Switch 1 well into the Switch 2's life, maybe the first 2 years. I mean, hell, PlayStation is still supporting the PS4 to this day, and the PS5, the original one, came out in 2020. And then the Xbox kind of just jumped ship from the console wars in general. Everything's an Xbox now. Your cell phone, and speaking of that, hopefully that means Halo's coming to Switch. But I'm rambling. But yeah, so we don't have to worry about the Switch, and it might even surpass the DS if it continues going. And obviously sales have dropped pretty, I wouldn't say too significantly, but like at this point everybody who wanted a Switch has a Switch. Some people even have up to 3 Switches, whether they're collectors or they have kids or they just broken theirs. And another thing is, at this point, it's not only that they've sold a bunch, but they still have millions of active users using their Switch. So it's not just people who buy up 10 Switches or whatever. Yeah, I believe Nintendo hit a home run with this console, which is what they needed coming off the heels of the Wii U. I'm not gonna ramble on about all the failures of the Wii U, because to be honest, I wasn't paying attention much during that era. I did eventually get a Wii U, but I enjoyed it. I'm not a critic, not an analyst either. I just ramble. But yeah, so I just want to take this opportunity to just, I guess, kind of go over the Switch 1 and see if it'll trigger any memories inside my head. Maybe it was. I do remember where I was when I watched the Switch overall blowout trailer, which is the one in January. I was downstairs in my kitchen. I'm in my parents' kitchen, just watching it on my laptop with my cousin in front of me, and my mom was there too. I was kind of shushing them, which I got a dirty ass look, but I was like, the Switch is being presented. But yeah, it was a cool presentation also. But it was a turning point for the Switch, for Nintendo actually. They knew what they were doing, and since the Switch launch, we've had people trying to catch that coattail, right on the Switch 1's coattails. We've had the Steam Deck, we've had ROG Ally, we've had the Lenovo Legion Go, and obviously these are handheld PCs. But the point is, the power of a console or the power of a PC in a handheld form factor. We've even had Chinese knockoffs take form that have nothing to do with this. Like, for example, Retroid, who makes mainly Android based gaming pads, Odin, Ambernick, they've all like kind of took heavy inspiration from the Switch. To say that the Switch has influenced this generation of gaming is a small statement as to the bigger scope of it, because it even comes out the influence that Switch has had outside even console gaming with PC and with Android, and even future consoles manufacturers, not console manufacturers, but like emulator console manufacturer like tablets and stuff like Linux based, Android based, are still trying to catch that Nintendo Switch hype or whatever. And even to this day, I believe the Steam Deck, even though it barely came out in 2022, I believe, has only sold 3 million. And obviously, like I mentioned, that's a PC, that's Linux based, and Steam isn't as well known as Nintendo at this point. But we don't have to worry about the Switch 2 sales, even with all these competitors out and about. Xbox might be making, I believe, a handheld as well. And there has been, I wouldn't say rumors, I'd just say more so speculation about a PSP3 coming out from Sony, but who knows. Yeah, but the Switch has shaken the whole entire, not just gaming market, but like electronics in general. And it was a smart idea for the Switch to just be an iteration of the Switch. And the people bitching about how the Switch is just, if the Switch 2 is just an iteration, are the same people that bitched about how the Wii U is too wacky or whatever, and wanted something, why can't they just make a more powerful Wii at the time? And people just bitch just to bitch online. You're hidden behind a keyboard, and so you can say pretty much whatever you want. But I'm happy with the direction that Nintendo has gone with the Switch for these past 8 years, and I am here for the next 8 more or more. So yeah, just wanted to kind of like ramble my appreciation on the Switch 1, and here I will now ramble to the Nintendo Switch trailer. Alright, I'm back. So this is the original reveal trailer that was aired in October of 2016. So here we go. Let's relive this memory. I remember when I first watched this, my first thought was how sleek the Switch looked. And I wouldn't say that I thought the controller looked awkward, but it didn't look like girthy. So I'm guessing a similar take was that it just looked sleek. But let me continue. Now I remember I wasn't really keeping up with all the direction stuff, so that was my first like real introduction to Breath of the Wild. I thought it looked pretty sick, and the graphics, like it was all open world and stuff. I remember this game, I think it was supposed to come out in 2015 on the Wii U, but then it kept getting pushed. That's why it ended up being a cross-gen release, which I think is going to happen with Metroid Prime 4 Corruption. It kept getting, same story, kept getting pushed. And they don't want to screw over their Switch 1 fan base. Similar, they don't want to screw over the Wii U fan base. I do remember thinking that little kickstand was gonna be unstable, like just a slight push or like just like a shift in the airplane's like trajectory was gonna just tip it over. It was just gonna fall flat. I didn't think it would break the screen, but I was like, that's not gonna hold. But and to be honest, that was my thoughts during the second watch through. During my first watch through, I was just like mesmerized by the whole fucking thing. In hindsight, a lot of people kind of like laughed at the idea of like going to a basketball game, like playing hoops with your friends and then busting out a Switch. But back in the day, this was pretty innovative. Like I remember during the first couple years, what really set the Switch apart from other consoles was being able to play, especially more so for us adults. Like for example, I was in school and working at the time. Being able to just pick up the Switch and play for like half an hour and then put it to sleep, and playing increments of 30 minutes to 45 minutes was really convenient. And just that convenience alone was pretty significant to be able to put a lot of time into like gaming, especially with people with kids or like myself with school and work at the time. It was convenient. So, and the marketing was pretty different between the Switch and the Wii U. There was no Yoshi Explosion. I wouldn't call this trailer more mature or whatever, but it wasn't just geared towards kids. It was geared to like people in their early to mid 20s, which was smart of them to do in hindsight because, well, for one, they've sold over 150 million units, and also that we're the ones who grew up with the Nintendo, and we were the ones who had disposable income at the time. This is what excited me, a new 3D Mario. And I was still kind of skeptical. I'm like, was this like a 2.5 Mario, similar to like Mario 3D World? I was kind of still like worrisome over that, because I I know Super Mario World, I'm sorry, Super Mario 3D World is a good game and all, but like I was like really disappointed. Like I was looking for an open world sandbox Mario game at the time when Super Mario 3D World came out, and I was pretty disappointed with that. I was so disappointed I kind of scorned at the I couldn't enjoy 3D World to what most people could, because I was still disappointed of what it wasn't. Similar to how Ardo feels about Paper Mario. Something I was never into back then or today. That's just me though. I'm a casual. To this day, I still really want to get into Splatoon series, but the thing is, like, you have to allot specific times and a certain amount of time in order to be good and keep up. And to be honest, that's why I kind of stick to single player games or like local multiplayer games, because I just don't have the patience, or like, I don't know. I obviously I do have the time because I play other video games, but to put specific time, I guess, time frames of when I can play or when's the best optimal times. But that's why I kind of don't really play like online games like Call of Duty, Splatoon, Valorant, or Fortnite and stuff. Nintendo Switch. And yeah, 8 years later, the successor. There were so many games that I enjoyed playing on this. Well, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, indie games. Indie games played a significant role in filling out the Switch's library. There was a lot of third-party support, major third-party support, at the very least, like during the first 5 years. Eventually, the Switch technology surpassed the Switch, and it became outdated for third parties at the very least. Even to this day, like, there are some first-party games that kind of start to stutter, like Mario and Luigi Brothership, and the Pokemon series, like not Sword and Shield, but Scarlet and Violet. But that's more so on the Pokemon company not giving a shit, and they know that people will buy it to the millions without them putting much effort, and they can get away with it. But I digress. So yeah, I just want to say thank you very much to the Nintendo Switch for all these awesome memories and experiences, and hopefully your successor will bring me just as much joy, if not more, to myself and everyone else. Thank you everyone for watching, and have a great night. Bye bye. And let me know in the comments if you want to share any experiences you've had with the Switch, or where were you when the Switch 1 launched. Alright, well, bye.